All right, so we're going to work on an order of operations problem here. Now, taking a look at this problem, it's an order of operations problem that's in fraction form. So when I approach these problems, this is how I do it. I kind of treat the numerator as if it's its own problem, and I break it down and I simplify it until all I'm left with is a single number. And then I work on the denominator and I do the same. I break it down, simplify it until I have a single number. And then in the end, our last step is to take the top number and simplify it down with the bottom number. Now, we are using order of operations, and we do have to follow our rules. Now, keep in mind, Pemdas, right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. It means parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. It tells us the order in which to simplify an order of operations problems. Now, keep in mind that parentheses also means a couple different things. We can have regular parentheses. We can have our square brackets, curly brackets, sometimes square roots. If you have a calculation inside the square root, that can count as parentheses. Also, if you have absolute value bars with calculations inside of it, that can also count as parentheses. So keep that in mind when you're working on a problem. So if we're taking a look at the numerator, let's start there. Let's take a look at this numerator. 6 minus 3 brackets, 5 minus parentheses, 1 minus 4 squared and bracket. Now, we have parentheses inside of brackets here because that's what my eyes are zeroing in on. Oh my God, I can't talk. All right, so when that happens, keep in mind that if you have parentheses inside of parentheses type of thing, we want to start in the middle and work our way out. So the first thing we would actually want to do with this problem, following our order of operations, right, we're going to be focusing on parentheses. So we're going to start on this innermost parentheses right over here. And inside those parentheses, we have 1 minus 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop down the numerator, 6 minus 3, bracket, 5 minus. And in my parentheses, we're going to take care of 1 minus 4. And 1 minus 4 is a negative 3. And then we're going to square that and then end bracket. All right, and that's my numerator. Okay, I'm going to keep working with the numerator. And since we took care of what's inside those parentheses, now what it kind of jumps to is our brackets here. Right, we took care of this, but we still have these brackets which count as parentheses. And inside these brackets, we have to follow order of operations. So inside these brackets, we have subtraction, but then we also have this exponent. And exponent comes before subtraction. So this exponent is the next thing we need to take care of. So I'm going to drop down the numerator again, 6 minus 3, bracket, 5 minus. And taking care of our exponent, we have negative 3 squared, which means negative 3 times negative 3. Now negative times negative is positive, and 3 times 3 is 9. So this right here turns into a 9. Okay? So let's see. Moving on with our numerator, let's see what we have left. We have 6 minus 3, and we still have our brackets here. So you know what? Let's go ahead and wrap up these brackets. Inside these brackets, we have 5 minus 9, which is a negative 4. Now, after we've done that, notice what we have here. 6 minus 3, bracket, negative 4. And all we have is a single number inside these brackets. And when that happens, this turns into a multiplication. This is 6 minus 3 times negative 4. So if we're still working on our numerator, we have subtraction and we have multiplication. And multiplication definitely comes before subtraction. So let's move over to the 6 and the minus sign. And let's take care of this. Well, technically, actually, we have negative 3 times negative 4. And negative 3 times negative 4 is a positive 12. And all we have left is an addition problem there. So 6 plus 12 is 18. Now that I have my numerator fully taken care of, now I'm going to pay attention to my denominator. We don't have as much going on in the denominator. Negative 2, absolute value, 3 minus 6, and absolute value. So remember, if there's a calculation inside our absolute value bars, we want to go ahead and take care of that because that fits with our parentheses. And inside our absolute value bars, we have 3 minus 6. So I'm going to drop down the minus 2. And then inside our absolute value bars, we have 3 minus 6, which is a -3. Now, all I have is a single number inside the absolute value bars, which means our next step, we actually want to take the absolute value of that. So I'm going to move over the -2, and let's take the absolute value of -3. Remember that absolute value is the distance away that number is from 0 on the number line. So if 0 is there, -3 is right here. And -3 is 1, 2, 3 units away. So the absolute value of -3 is 3. I mean, it's a +3. Absolute value is always positive because it's distance. And since we took care of the absolute value bars, this is now just a parentheses. This was -2 times the absolute value of -3. So now we have -2 times 3. And all we have left is that multiplication. So -2 times 3 is a -6. And since that's the only thing left in the denominator, we can go ahead and just move that on. Leaving us with 18 in our numerator, -6 in our denominator. Now remember, a fraction means division. 18 over -6 means 18 divided by -6. A positive divided by a negative is a negative, and 18 divided by 6 is 3. So we get -3 as our final answer here. Otherwise, that's it for this video.